Welcome to Nerd Positive. This is a Facebook and YouTube live podcast show that celebrates all the things that we feel are awesome in hopes of spreading our fandom to you. After the live show airs, you can find the show on Spotify, Apple, and anywhere you find audio podcasts. A little later in the show, we dive deep in the hearts of fandoms and celebrate the things we love. From sci-fi to fantasy, movies and TV shows, comics to video games, we explore the universes that have captured our imaginations and made us lifelong fans. Each week, we'll take you on a journey through the realms of awesomeness. Expect passionate discussions, in-depth analyses, things under the bed, many side quests. So whether you're a die-hard yippee-ki-yay motherfucker or just dipping your toes in the fandom waters, Nerd Positive is the place to be. I'm the host of the self-proclaimed Emperor of Awesome, proudly between with me every week. I have the unverified twin of Dave Batista in the head wrinkles, the unverified twin of Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the eyebrows, the unverified twin of Carl Weathers in the mustache,
The flavor saver.
and the unverified twin of Shamar Moore in the nipples.
Behind my Falcons Batman logo.
This is the way.
Good evening or morning or afternoon, whenever you're listening live or watching this recording, everybody in the Nerd Positive universe. We're so glad that you have survived the pandemic and become Nerd Positive. My name is Brian S. Dennis, where this week the S asks us a question, and it's Bradley. Want a peanut?
Yes, one peanut.
All right, my friend. How you been, tag team partner?
Dude, I've been pretty good, man. It was a long weekend. Gearing up for some more, especially with all the big movies coming out. Venom's coming out this week. I'm not too worried about that one, but with like Wicked and Gladiator 2 and yeah. So getting ready for the busy time.
What if Venom was in the Gladiator arena?
It depends on who he's fighting. But you know what? A story about Venom in like ancient Rome time,
yes,
would be freaking awesome.
I mean, the symbiotes have been around for forever, so why not? That would so Marvel, if you're listening, and we know you are.
Yes.
Like, why don't we get a Gladiator time Venom story arc, right? So, you could call it well, you call it anarchy or something like. Maybe that's how Julius Caesar actually rose to power.
Ooh, I like it a lot.
Was he had a symbiote? That would be really interesting. That would be really interesting.
That'd be really cool. You could throw in an alien in there, maybe a predator in the arena.
Absolutely.
I really wish that Marvel and DC could just play a little bit better. Sorry, my camera's glitching, by the way. But man, like, let's do some trades. Let's bring the Lantern Corps and over to Marvel and leave it alone. Just be like, hey, we're bringing the Lanterns over to Marvel, and then let's bring the symbiotes over to DC.
Right. As Deadpool and Wolverine showed us, when you do those kind of fan exploration things, what would happen if Deadpool had a lantern ring? Like, first off, he has no fear because he's completely just out of his mind, literally. Could you imagine that? Or could you imagine the things that we don't want to imagine the things that Deadpool would make with a lantern ring? But that would be, or Star-Lord being recruited to join the Lantern Corps, things like that. That would be really interesting to do that. Thor versus Storm, lightning versus lightning. That would be interesting.
I'm sure it's happened.
So if we did our whole, again, we can do all the fan casting and that we want to with that. But you're right. Hey, by the way, and we see in professional wrestling all the time, we've got AEW and Ring of Honor working together. We've got WWE and TNA working together. Let's just all get along.
Right.
And Bradley, this podcast can do it. We can pull together two behemoths that have had decades-long feuds and millions of dollars on the line to like, you know what? Just forget it.
Right.
Your fan base probably buys both your comics. Your fan base watches all the movies, all the TV shows. Give us one movie. Give us one amalgamation movie. And they can make it animated, so you can get away with some egos in live action. give us one amalgamation animated movie because they did have to work together
Mhm.
for the amalgamation series, right? So, or not, that would have been copyright hell. So,
Agre-
give us a movie. Give us one movie.
I mean, to me, man, I think that the easy thing to do is create a new brand and just have one brand that's Marvel and DC. All
Right,
and just work on it. You share, I mean, like make brand new IPs. That doesn't affect Marvel, doesn't affect
right,
DC.
right.
It is what it is. We're just gonna tell some really good stories because, dude. And I know I've talked a lot about Absolute Batman.
Yeah.
Dude, the Absolute world is
Okay.
freaking amazing. Absolute Wonder Woman comes out. So imagine Wonder Woman
Sure.
not raised in Themyscira,
Okay.
but raised in hell.
Nice.
And
Nice.
this is Absolute Wonder Woman.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. So versus Ultimate, which you see now, we have Absolute. I would love that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna have
man.
to check that out. I'm gonna
Oh,
have to check
dude.
that out.
And speaking of, man, I got Gambit #1.
Did you actually get it?
I bought it, dude. Yeah, I couldn't
Well
let it
worth
go,
it.
man. I
Well
couldn't.
worth it. Well
It
worth it.
was it, dude. It was there, and I tried to walk away. It was calling to
It
me
was not
for
gonna happen. The minute you texted and said you found him, like, he's getting it.
yeah.
Like, I know you were trying to like, well, it's this was. I'm like, he's totally getting it. Where did you find it at?
Rodman Comics here in Ankeny.
Oh, okay.
He
All
bought a
right.
collection, and it happened to be in there. And
Nice.
I mean, I'm not great. I'm gonna get it graded, but I mean, like just by looking at it, I'm gonna guess it's between a 7 and a 9, 7 or
That's
high
fair. That's
8.
fair.
I don't
That's
think it's
fair.
any. I don't think it's a 9,
Well,
but
with the price you paid, I mean, that's probably
yeah,
what it's gonna fall out to, which is still fine. I mean,
yeah,
but still
absolutely. I
exciting.
mean, I'm not gonna get rid of it. I mean, this is gonna go
Yeah.
probably to Leia because I don't think my older two really care about. Speaking
Sure.
of shout out of the week, Kendall, it was your birthday on Friday. Love you, kid. She's
Happy birthday, Kendall.
22. Yeah.
Boom.
And she doesn't like Taylor Swift, so I just gotta say this. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling 22.
A non-Swifty at 22. That is powerful.
It
That
is.
is powerful.
It is. Man, you got any shout outs?
Actually, yes. Well, first I want to give a shout out to our friend Annie. We got to speak
Yes.
to the DMAC class last Monday. Annie, DMAC class, thank you all so much for inviting us. I know they said they were going to bring us back again. This was really cool. So for those of you who don't know or not in the Central Iowa area where Brad and I record from, so DMAC is a local community college, Des Moines area community college. Give them just a mention. We get asked to come and speak to a class there and talk about interviewing. So we get to talk about the fun little thing we get to do once a week, if not more often. And we got to talk about it. And the class was awesome. The instructor was awesome. And we had us a real good time. So really truthfully appreciate it. So yeah, it was a great day.
Sweet. And then, man, I've been pumping out a whole bunch of little lunch break review quickies, little 5-minute episodes that have been hitting the TikTokies, the YouTube, and even on the podcast page as well. I did an NCIS Origins tracker, teacup. So I did some comic stuff. So check those out as well. You got 5 minutes. It's all you need.
Hey.
Man, all right. Favorites of the week, dude. What do you got?
All right, don't have a movie this week. I do got 3 shows that I want to mention. So Elsbeth and Tracker had their first episodes this past week. Excellent, picked up where they left off. Right now on Tracker, they've written off one of the wives of the team that supports him, and she's out of town assisting him, helping with the case. I think at some point they're going to absolutely write her off. Elsbeth was wonderfully awkward with Elsbeth. That was great. And I got to give this, and I know you're going to just catch up on it, but I got to give, again, one of my favorite shows that's on the MGM Plus app from FROM. We're now episode 4 of the current season. It's getting more and more into the who, what, and why of the township. And by the way, I noticed this week, and I know, Brad, you've not seen the show yet, but the production team behind From are the Russo brothers, who are behind Captain America, Civil War, and both Avengers Endgame and Avengers Infinity War, which makes sense because From has a standing regular cast of about, I would say, 8 significant cast members, with probably 4 or 5 others interspersed in episodes. They've got about a dozen different people that have storylines within this very large cast in this town that has a larger kind of what's going on thing, and they really keep track of the characters, their backstories, their relationships, and no one feels lost in it. Unlike Lost. So see what I did there? So
Hmm.
it totally makes sense that the Russo brothers will have a lot to do with this. So I just got to give From its flowers. It's creepy, but it's incredibly intriguing. So I just want to give those my shows of the week: Elsbeth, Tracker, and From, as well as another one on Paramount Plus, the new Matlock. I don't know if I can call it a spinoff, but the new Matlock series episode 2 dropped, and the show continues. It was a show that I actually watched. The first episode I watched, this kind of a throwaway. I wasn't doing anything. I thought, you know what? My TV's on. I want some background noise. I'll turn it on. I'll probably hate it. I can make fun of it because they run out of ideas. And I think I said this last week's show. The first episode was fine until we get to the very end of it, and then there's a very significant plot twist. And then now that you know the plot twist, when you watch the second episode, it builds on that beautifully. So I just gotta say, Matlock, Kathy Bates, which I should have known if Kathy Bates was going to be a part of it. It was going to be good, and it really is. So those are my favorites of the week.
Nice, nice. So I'm just gonna add a few to that. Lincoln Lawyer is back.
Yes, have not seen
So
it yet, but yes,
love that
okay.
show. I'm about 4 episodes
All
in.
right, all right, all right.
I want to absolutely. I want to a second. Elsbeth Tracker. I want to, Penguin is still rock solid, man. From I can't wait to get into that. NCIS Origins
How
was
was that?
great.
I might check that out after we get done. How was
Yeah,
episode 1 of NCS
uh,
Origins?
1 and 2. I mean, like the name is Enter Sandman, so
There
Enter
it is,
Sandman
right
part
there.
1 and part 2.
There it is.
You know, it takes place in the early '90s. So I mean,
Sure.
like, if you want some good '90s nostalgia, check it out. It's fantastic. There's a new show on that I'm kind of into right now called Teacup
Yes.
on Peacock, and
Yes.
I kind of really digging it. It did fall off a little bit for me for the newest 2 episodes. They're
Okay.
releasing 2 episodes a week. So they're going to wrap it up on Halloween.
As they should. That makes perfect sense. Okay.
Yeah. So the first episodes were fantastic. The second 2 kind of backed off a little bit, but I'm still intrigued. I'm still going to check it all out. There's a new show that I haven't got to check out yet, but I really want to. Edge of Sleep. Have you heard of this?
Have not, but now I'm very, as you can see the head tilt, I'm very
Yeah,
intrigued. Okay.
it's on Prime, and
Okay.
roughly it's about a disease that kills you in your sleep.
Is it out yet? Or is it coming out?
It's out. It's out
Okay.
now. Yeah,
Okay.
so I'm gonna check that out tonight. So we'll probably talk about that next week.
Nice.
And then Vox Machina for sure.
Of course.
Yeah.
My son is in love with the newest season. But I've really enjoyed it as well. But again, to give Brendan his thing, Vox Machina, I think, is winning his reviews right now. And there's also Citadel Diana, which I need to check out as well. I really like Citadel. So this is a spinoff of that. I think it's dubbed from French, if I remember correctly. But that also looks really good as well. So lots of things. It's fall, so that means all the things are coming out. So it's hard to keep up with all of it, but there's a lot of good quality things out there. Absolutely.
Nice. Do you have any other thing else that hits your favorites for the week?
Absolutely. Right now, those are going to be my big ones, as well as just getting to hang out with you, my partner. Let's do the thing.
Awesome. Well, I just wanted to give a quick shout out to in the world of comics.
Yes, sir.
If you ever wanted to know what the Battle of Jakku was, they're telling that story now in comic form. So issues
cool.
1 and 2 are. It's going to be a 12-part series. Issues 1 and 2 are out, so it's just getting ramped up. I'll probably do something with that later on. Maybe we'll tag team that one out. But
hey.
And then Smile 2.
I was going to ask about Smile 2.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was good. It was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't amazing, but I mean, it's beating Joker. It's funny. Joker comes out, and then Terrifier comes out, kicks his ass, and then Smile comes out and kicks his ass. So
right.
Do we have any other shade to throw at Joker next week? Kinda Venom.
Did you also see the news that Tobin Bell has officially signed on to be in Saw 11?
Good.
So yes. So of the movie that was, I think we were supposed to have had the final Saw easily. I think we're going back to right post pandemic. And by the way, I don't know if you've seen Saw 10. Was really good. It's a prequel. goes kind of harkens back to some of the things, so that was really good. And then he is signed on through at least one more Saw. So the movies will probably, I had someone ask once upon a time when they stop making Saw. I go probably never, because the movies are extremely inexpensive
Mhm.
to create. They have very small cast. They take place in a very small environment. So the movies themselves are usually only a few $1,000,000. As not to belittle that, but in the world of movies, they typically are only a few $1,000,000 to make and market. And so after about 3 weekends, the movies have made their money back. Whether they get any critical acclaim or not, they, unlike Joker, they're going to make their money back. So, and we did a deep
Yes.
dive into Joker last week.
Yep.
Joker 2, I should say. And same thing again, folks. If you want to see it, and we don't get any money for any of this, as you
Mm.
obviously can tell, but as you know, but again, Joker 2, is it the greatest movie ever? Absolutely not. Is it the worst thing that especially DC has put out in live movie form?
No.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So,
Yeah.
it's an art house movie. It's an art
Yeah,
house
absolutely.
movie. That's
Absolutely.
what it is. Yep.
All right, man. I think it's time to go. Let's talk about our topic of the night. You want to
Hey,
introduce it?
yes, sir. So, Brad and I, as you can see, whether it's playing or not, we quote a lot of movies. So, a few weeks ago, we thought about, let's just do a breakdown of quotable movies. We hear from a lot of our fans that they like when we do our list, because we get to dive deep into nerdom, and we just see kind of where we are. So, as we've mentioned many times before, when Brad and I do a list, we do not discuss it other than what we're going to make the list about, and we just keep track to see if we have anything in common, especially if we have either that line up in the same place. So, I think we both want, again, we didn't even discuss how many we were going to do. We both said we were going to do 10. I've actually got a few honorable mentions in my
Nice.
list. So it's going to share what we consider the most quotable movies in our opinion. So you
Yes.
feel free to agree, disagree, give us a comment on, hey, you guys forgot this movie. What about that movie? But we're going to go through this. So, Brad, if you don't mind, I'll cover my list first,
Sounds good.
and I'll go from bottom to the top
Perfect.
of the movies that I think are most quotable. These are the movies that I probably quote the most. All right. So I'm gonna go number one. Excuse me. Starting off with my honorable mentions. So I think I've got 5 honorable mentions.
Okay.
So up first is Anchorman. The Legend of Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
I mean, how can you not just love that movie? It is
Mhm.
fantastic. It is similar to a lot of things when it comes to Will Ferrell movies. There's nothing great about it, meaning it's not going to, make the world a better place. But what it will do is just give you some good laughs here, there, and everywhere. And it's one of those things that just makes you laugh so much. And that entire group of folks that are in that movie is fantastic. And of course, in the words of Ron Burgundy, 60%, 60% of the time it works every time. All right. Next up after that, Forrest Gump. Again, and so I went to college in a town called Savannah, Georgia, which is famously where Forrest Gump was filmed. So Forrest Gump, most of you, if you've seen Forrest Gump, the movie starts off with Forrest sitting in Savannah Square on the bench with the box of chocolates. That's a real place. And back, not only when the movie was in theaters, but for a few years after that, in Savannah Square, you could go and they would daily put out a box of chocolates where you could sit and have your picture taken. I've been there many, many times. One of my favorite movies, very sentimental. And again, Run Forrest Run. Stupid is as stupid does. And of course, Bradley, you and I both can probably attest to, we may not be smart men, but we do know what love is. All
As you-
right. Princess Leia has dropped in for a cameo.
Yeah, Leia, can you tell us what your favorite movie to quote is?
Movie to quote, what does that mean?
Like, what movies can you say some lines for?
I need your help with one of them.
I need your help with one of them. I've never heard that one.
No, Daddy! It's a Star Wars.
No, Daddy. That's one? Okay.
I mean, it is probably. There's
I mean, I can
probably in
think
a
of a
few
few
movies.
movies that might actually be in. Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
You mean May the Force be with you?
No.
Or is it like Obi-Wan never told you what happened to your father?
He told you no! He told you betrayed him and killed him!
No, I am your father. There we go.
By the way, you can watch any episode of the Maury Povich show and get that reenacted. Yep.
I stole.
How are you?
Good.
How are the braces? How are they how are they feeling?
I want food.
You want food? Well, it's dinner time, so you should want food.
Well, we already had dinner.
What you have?
Go eat snack.
We had grilled cheese.
That's a win any day of the week.
Yeah, apparently I had way too much cheese today because everything I ate today involved cheese.
That's not. I'm not saying that as a problem. I'm not saying what is the problem at all.
I'm not. I don't usually eat that much cheese.
That's fair. That's fair. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Hey, can I talk to your dad and finish our podcast?
Well, how much longer will your podcast be?
Well, depends on when you let me have my stuff back.
Because I want to play Uno numbers.
When this is over, I'll play Uno numbers with you.
Man, I have bad spelling.
All right. Bye bye, baby girlie. What's that?
I said, can you tell her bye bye for me?
Brian, Uncle Brian says bye bye.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Okay. All right. Next up, I'm not even going to say the name of the movie. I'm just going to give you the quote so if you can guess the movie. Bueller.
Bueller's Day Off. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Ferris Bueller. I'm sorry. Jeez.
Yeah, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, and of course, the next one is Speed. Again, what would you do? Hot Shot. What would you do? 55 miles an hour. So, Bradley, let me ask you this: what is more famous in your mind as far as movies? 55 miles per hour or 88 miles per hour?
88.
And what does 88 refer to?
Back to the Future.
Boom. All right, my friend. And then the last one, my honorable mentions is Scream, the original, just because they have so many great quotable things regarding a horror movie. I mean, so Scream came out way before podcasts were really a thing, but to me, Scream would have been a podcast. I mean, this is perfectly. You have a bunch of fans that watch horror movies and enjoy them for their ludicrousness, their breaks in logic, and come with a string of rules. So Scream goes in there for me. So with that being said, here come my actual top 10. All right. Coming in number 10 from 1974, we have Blazing Saddles with Cleavon Little and Gene Wilder. The movie has tons of quotable moments, but of course, my personal favorite quote from Blazing Saddles is, "Where the white women at?"
Yeah, that would almost be my list.
Number 9, my tag team partner athlete references in his intro, "Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker." We've got from 1988, Die Hard. One of the best movies ever, probably the best Christmas movie ever. It gave us Bruce Willis really making a break from a comedy into action movies. And of course, it gave us the wonderful Professor Snape as one of my personal favorite villains in that. And also, Bradley, beyond being not only a very quotable movie, it actually teaches us a lot of things, such as, when in doubt, please never forget your shoes, because you never know you're going to have to walk across a floor full of broken glass.
Yes, I feel like some people forget that, especially in movies.
Or, always duct tape the gun to your back. That's always, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Which they harken back to in Die Hard with a Vengeance. They actually had a gun duct tape to his back. If I was to go through my top 10 favorite movies of all time, this one would be near the top, and that is from 1994. It also was my introduction to Quentin Tarantino. It is Pulp Fiction. There's so many great quotable lines in Pulp Fiction that I absolutely love it to death. Marcellus Wallace. It also was one of the first movies that really showed me the greatness of the godfather of our podcast, one Samuel L. Jackson. It also had just the cast of that: Uma Thurman, Bruce Willis, John Travolta, Harvey Keitel, just fantastic movies. And of course, Bradley, do you know what they call a quarter pounder with cheese in Amsterdam?
A Royale with cheese.
A Royale with cheese. Yes, sir. As I said before, while 55 miles an hour is important when it comes to speed, 88 miles an hour is really important with my number 7 pick. That is Back to the Future from 1985. Just again, the 88 miles per hour, the flux capacitor. It's also, if it's not the most quoted movie, any movie that has to do anything with time travel is probably the most referenced movie. For so many fans, Back to the Future is the staple of time travel. That's what we talk about, that's what we think about. The fact that there are people that have probably bought the remnants of a horrible car in a DeLorean just because of how powerful that movie was. It also gave us Crispin Glover, or aka the Thin Man. So when I first saw, quick tangent, one of our side quests, I remember when I first saw Back to the Future, and Crispin Glover plays Marty McFly, played by Michael J. Fox's father. I remember as a kid in 1985 watching that movie and thinking, how on earth did they make Marty McFly's dad look so young? But when he plays his a teenage version of him, when he goes back in time, to which my parents had to wonder, why on earth were they sending me to school? Go, maybe instead of they made an older actor look younger, they made a younger actor look older. Oh, it still didn't cement in my brain, Brad. I'm just embarrassing to say this, until I watched the original Charlie's Angels movie with Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, and Lucy Liu, and he plays the Thin Man in that movie. And I go, oh, yeah, that would make sense, because he would have probably been in his early 20s when Back to the Future was made. Of course. All right. So yeah. Okay. By the way, if a very underrated movie, if you just want to see a movie about a love story between a man and a mouse, gotta watch. Gotta check out Willard as well.
It's unreal that's a great movie.
It is.
Yeah.
All right. Next up, Brad, I'm just gonna throw this out to see if you can guess the movie. Leave the gun, take the cannoli.
Oh shoot.
Sir.
Black and white. Is it Maltese Falcon?
No. 1972. How about this? I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse.
Was it Godfather?
Godfather. Yes. 1972 to come in my number 6 pick. Number 5. This one was a struggle, and this one caused. I want to get your input on this, and we can maybe talk about. I'm curious what your list is. I'll save this, but I wanted to drop a movie. So when I did my list, I kind of already knew what my toppers were going to be, and coming in at number 5, and I waffled on the placement, but it comes from a series of movies that you and I and many people of our nerddom love the quote. So I tried to think of what did I think was the most quotable movie of this series of 9 films. And Bradley, all I can say, sir, is there's only one thing to say when someone professes their undying love to you, and that is, I know.
I know.
So from 1980, we're going Empire Strikes Back. Number 4, Brad, do you like gladiator movies?
Love them.
So we're going to go Airplane with the exclamation point in 1980. Also watching also just the rapping moment in that movie is fantastic. Bradley, the end of the world can be signified by a few different things when and if the apocalypse comes, but one of the telltale signs is that we will have dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. So 1984, number 3, we got Ghostbusters. And then my top 2, and I got to tell you, when we first threw this out a few weeks ago, I knew immediately what my top 2 were going to be. And I thought back about which one would they be. And number 2, because Bradley, you don't really look Druish. I'm going to go, but you could be a Mog. Half man, half dog. Barf! We're going to go with Spaceballs, 1987. And also from 1987, it's amazing that both of these movies are from 1987. It's to say any other movie would be number 1 would be, quite frankly, inconceivable. My number 1 pick is The Princess Bride for most quotable movie.
Very good, very good. So we have 1, 2, 3. It looks like
okay.
the same. Okay.
All right.
Now the way that I did my list is a little bit different. I
Okay.
went to like, what do I hear more? Like, what
Mm,
movies do I feel is more like overall? Like, what movies do I quote the most?
okay.
And like, so when I'm thinking about the movies, I'm like, oh yeah, I hear this. I'd say this more than anything else. But I started with number 10 with My Precious
Yo.
Lord of the Rings. I'm like,
Okay.
man, okay, hard to, that alone kind of puts you in there. Just My Precious.
So are you entering Lord of the Rings as a series or a particular movie from Lord of the
I'm
Rings?
doing this series because
Okay.
it's said throughout it, and it's
Gotcha.
so.
Yes.
And then for number 9, I went to a slogan that we've heard millions of times.
Okay.
Hakuna Matata.
Very good.
It
Very good.
means no worries. Yes, The
Should have
Lion
made
King.
my list. Should have made my list. Very
Yeah.
good.
And then for number 8, I had to go this. I bloody cut off your arm. 'Tis a flesh wound. Monty Python and the Search for the Holy Grail.
I knew you were going to bring some Python. I knew you were going to remind me Python in this. Okay.
For number
Fair.
7, we're not in Kansas anymore. The Wizard of Oz.
The Wizard of Oz.
Probably. I mean, I debated on putting that up higher just because it's such an older movie
Mm-hmm.
and it's been quoted for so long.
Yes. Yes.
And after that, man, like, you're killing me, Smalls. Killing me,
Sandlot.
Smalls. The
Yes.
Sandlot. Yes. And then number 5, To Infinity and Beyond. Toy Story.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Number 4, Forrest Gump. Yes, Janai. Yes.
Yes.
Number
By the way,
3.
what a wonderful love story. And they
Oh
were
yeah.
kids and he was struggling, he knows he's in love with her, but she runs off to college and then leaves college and other than I think she basically gives him a handsy in her dorm room while he's wearing her roommate's robe. She really has nothing to do with him for decades and decades until he's a multimillionaire. Then she comes back and they get married. What a wonderful, wonderful love story as she's dying from hepatitis.
Yeah.
Wonderful love story.
Yep.
By the way,
100%.
if you ever want to be add something that will strike you, I've read part of the Forrest Gump book many years ago. Just Google the Forrest Gump book, and there's some differences between Forrest in the book and Forrest in the movie. Just throwing it out there.
All right, I'll definitely check that out.
They did a little difference. Okay, sir. Next up on your list, my friend.
So my top 3 is pretty close to what you had.
Okay.
Little bit out of order, but my number 3 is Spaceballs.
Of course.
Ludicrous speed. We ain't found shit. I mean, we just
combing the desert,
the desert.
Dark helmet and all those helmets that he wore. Yeah. Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money.
Right.
Just fantastic. Mel Brooks is just fantastic.
Yeah, I love Mel Brooks. Yes. My number 2 was your number 1.
Okay.
The Princess Bride. And I went back and forth a lot with my number 1 and my number 2.
As you wish, sir.
Man, because I'm like, man, I mean, The Princess Bride. What ultimately made me decide to put Star Wars as number 1 was I lumped them all together. I lumped all of Star Wars together.
Yep.
That's the only way I could really put that over The Princess Bride. So there's my list, man. I think we hit a lot of good movies. I'm actually thought we'd have a couple more of the same, but
I did too. But there's so many great ones,
mm-hmm.
which actually leads me to something I wanted to ask you. So I'm glad to hear the Star Wars as a series was your number 1. So similar to you with what you did with Lord of the Rings, and there's no rules, is it we thought was fun, but so I put in Empire as number 5 just because I think because the I know between Han and Leia, the no when his hand gets chopped off. Obviously, I am your father. There's so many. I think some of the most honestly of the 9 films. I think Empire Strike Back. So that'll be episode 4 episode 5 is the best of them. But I am curious, to you, if you had between episodes 1 through 9, to you, which to you is the most quotable of those films?
Empire.
Empire.
Empire,
Okay.
yeah. I think just because the twist, no, I
Yep.
am your
Yep.
father. I
Yes.
think that alone, um, yeah, it's got to be.
And obviously the most commonly quoted thing from any of the Star Wars movies and movies, TV shows, books, comics, just the entire Star Wars universe, and thing that's probably made George Lucas insane amounts of money is may the force be with you. And it's hard to, I mean, it's in every movie, so similar to My
Mm,
Precious.
I know.
But yeah, I know. Yes. You gotta give it to Han, man. I mean,
Right?
seriously. I'm being frozen to carbonite. Who knows if I'm ever gonna see you again? And he just still chin up, G up. I
You know,
know.
it was only because he was hanging out with Lando before this happened, right?
That dude. You know, Bill,
He had to get his swagger back.
he probably gave him a Colt 45 right before you. Like, hey, look. I know I betrayed you and stuff, but here's some malt liquor for you. It'll take
Yeah,
the edge off a little bit.
right.
All right, good one for Billy D. Which is the reason that so many of my family members love Star Wars, is by it only gave it because in this is a deeper thing, but that's been one of the criticisms of sci-fi historically in this country anyway, is that when you look in the future, it's very little and this is me doing the whole side quest again.
Mhm.
Star Wars technically takes place in the past. Galaxy far, far away, a long, long time ago, right?
Mhm.
But any of those futuristic space themed movies, TV shows, there's very little representation of any group of colors. You have Uhura in Star Trek, who basically answers the phone. And then in Star Wars, you have we talked about him a few weeks ago again. RIP to James Earl Jones, who famously voiced Darth Vader, and then you had Billy D. Williams as Lando Calrissian. Which again, when these movies first came out, to have those two having such prominent roles, even though James Earl Jones is never seen in the films, that's made those movies so powerful for African American culture of that. So George Lucas, we want to thank you. By the way, George Lucas is famously married to an African American woman. So
Yes.
all right, sir. Where are
So,
we at? Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say. So, what I did here is I went ahead and I put together, because I know there's no way we could hit all the great movies. So I just put
Sure.
together a
So
list.
think about it. We did not mention Gone with the Wind, which is the
Mhm.
most popular movie of all time and has several quotable lines as well. But please
That
go
is
ahead.
true. But I went through and I just found a whole bunch of different movie quotes. So I'm just gonna say the quotes just so we could reminisce a little bit. Maybe
All
I
right.
can stump you. I'm gonna put my wager on you. I think you're gonna get all, but maybe might stump you on one,
All
and then
right.
you're gonna be mad at yourself when I tell you what it is.
Let's do it.
All right, man. So movie quote: "If you let my daughter go now, that'll be the end of it. I will not look for you. I will not pursue you. But if you don't, I will look for you. I will find you, and I will kill you."
Oh, you gotta love our man Brian, aka Taken.
Yes.
Liam
Yes.
Neeson, badass. Yes, sir.
"My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the North, general of the Felix legions, and loyal servant to the true emperor, Marcus Aurelius, father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, and I will have my vengeance in this life or the next."
Our boy Russell Crowe in the original Gladiator.
"Get your stinking paws off me, you damn
Damn
dirty
dirty
ape."
ape. All right, Charlton Heston in the original Planet of the Apes.
As if.
Oh, Clueless.
There we go. There we go.
The tone. That's it. Yes.
"They call it a Royale with cheese."
Pulp Fiction, of course.
"They're here."
Poltergeist. That's gonna be funny in a minute. That's gonna be real funny in a minute. All right.
"Magic mirror on the wall. Who's the fairest one of all?"
Ah, 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 ah. I can see it. It's the movie. Oh my god. Uh, uh, Snow White.
Snow White, yes. I was
Okay.
gonna say that's not the. I thought I was gonna get you on something else, but okay, all right. We're
I hate to
not
say
in
it, I'm not
Kansas.
big with the Disney princesses. Sorry.
Yeah, we're not in Kansas anymore.
Gone with I'm gonna say Gone with the Wind. That is actually Wizard of Oz.
Yes. What's on? What's off?
Yes. RP again to Pat Morita as Miss Miyagi, the original Karate Kid.
Okay. Good morning, Vietnam.
Good Morning Vietnam again. RP to Robin Williams.
Sorry about your ears, by the way.
It wasn't that bad actually.
Okay. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead. Make my day.
Okay, so we know that's Clint Eastwood. I know the character. I can't remember if that's the name of the movie though. Uh, 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 okay. Okay, Dirty Harry says it, but I don't think that's the name of the movie.
I just put Dirty Harry, so I'll count that as a win.
Okay.
Okay. Hasta la vista, baby.
T2, Terminator 2,
Yeah.
definitely.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
That actually is Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Okay.
If you build it, he will come.
Field of Dreams, which I actually have never seen.
Really? Oh, wow.
Haven't.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
The wonderful ending to be continued that took far too long to make the sequel, especially given the sequel was meh, but it's Back to the Future. Doc Brown.
Here's Johnny.
Shining.
Yes. To infinity and beyond.
Our boy Buzz from Toy Story. And of course, I'm sure you've seen the meme, so we've not done our things under the bed in a little bit, where they find, hey, look, Andy's mom's toys have the same name as us with Buzz and Woody hanging out. So yeah.
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker.
Die Hard, of course.
You can't handle the truth.
Jack Nicholson in a role that he should have won the Academy Award for in A Few Good Men.
Man, Kiefer Sutherland is very, very underappreciated in that movie.
He was so good in that.
Yeah.
And I think I've said this before in the courtroom scene where they just have that movie has great cameos as well. Both Noah Wyle and Cuba Gooding Jr. are in that movie as members of the Rifle Company who just give a quick little who give very short testimony during the trial. But A Few Good Men also an extremely good movie, extremely underrated movie as well.
Yes. I'll be back.
Original Terminator, correct?
Yeah.
All right.
I see dead people.
Haley Joel Osment in a wonderful movie known as The Sixth Sense.
Why so serious?
We discussed this last week. It is Heath Ledger's version of the Joker in The Dark Knight.
Hello, my name is Indigo Maduro. You killed my father. Prepare to die.
Of course, Inigo in The Princess Bride. Fantastic film.
Sorry, Mandy. I know that was bad. And my last one for you. Beam me up, Scotty.
Star Trek, of course. All right.
Yes.
So with that being said, I actually have 5 of them myself for you.
Nice.
So here we go. So show me the money.
Cuba Gooding Jr. in Jerry Maguire.
Absolutely. I'll be having what she's having. I might stump you on that one.
Oh, crap. Is that when Harry Met Sally?
It is.
Yeah.
Nice job. There's no crying in baseball.
Oh, League of Their Own.
Now, this is why I said it was going to get funny. My 4th one is They're Here.
The Poltergeist, yes.
Then my last one is Yo, Adrian.
Yo, Adrian, like, come on, sometimes you just gotta go, and when you get knocked down, you gotta get up, like, yeah, Rocky.
All right. Yeah. So, pop quiz for you, sir.
Yes.
Where does, in Rocky from 1976, where does Adrian, where does she work? because that's where he first says, "Yo, Adrian." Where is that her job?
Mm.
Do you remember where Adrian works?
It's a pet store, I believe.
She works at a pet store.
Yeah.
Absolutely, she works at a pet store. All right, my friend.
I
That
need to
was
rewatch
fun.
that movie.
Fantastic movie.
Yeah.
And here's my pet peeve when it comes to movies and quotes is that people, and again, for any of my friends that are listening, you've heard me say this before. My pet peeve is that people think that Rocky wins in Rocky.
Mhm.
He does not. He does not.
Not physically.
Oh yeah, he wins. He's almost blinded in one eye, but he gets the
Right.
girl, right? So
Yeah,
yeah. So
absolutely.
Rocky wins the first. Rocky, loses the first fight with Apollo. So Rocky does not win until Rocky 2.
Yeah.
But yes. So again, so anybody that watches Rocky, and it's almost like the Mandela effect.
Mhm.
People have a lot of people because Rocky 2 was on television a lot. Just because Rocky wins is more of a Cinderella story. So I think a lot of people conflate Rocky 2 thinking that it's Rocky because he wins the fight. It's still a Mandela effect thing. But no, Rocky does not win in Rocky. He loses in Rocky. And famously, Apollo Creed goes, there ain't gonna be no rematch. Which for lots of reasons, maybe he shouldn't have did the rematch. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Although, you know what? We may have to do an episode about this, but the best duos in a movie, because
Ooh.
Rocky and Apollo Creed would be
Yes.
pretty high on that.
They would totally be that high. And by the way, talk about duos. I mean, yeah, we may have to put our best duos because I'm already. We should put that in the books for next week or maybe the week after, but definitely best duos. I already have my brain going when it comes to that. All right, my friend. So you did great. You got all 5 of it. I thought the Harry Met Sally one might throw you a little bit because we talk about so many other different things. But nice job on When Harry Met Sally. Again, one of my favorite movies out there as well. All right, bro. Would you like an honest ad?
I would love an honest ad.
All right, my friend. So I wrote this a little earlier today because I was hungry. So I wrote an honest ad for not chicken fingers, not even chicken nuggets, but for chicken nuggies. Are you ready, my friend?
I'm ready.
Fried, plain, sauced, and yummy. Get in my tummy. It's time for chicken nuggies. Any place, anytime, without reason nor rhyme, give me chicken nuggies and watch my smile shine. 6, 10, or even a dozen. Open up your mouth and I'll start shoving. Honey mustard, buffalo, and yep, definitely ranch. Mix and match and take a chance. On the main menu, a side or even dessert, fill up on nuggies until your stomach starts to hurt. McDonald's, Wendy's, and Bebop's, if you're from the Midwest, take my word, dear nerds, chicken nuggies are the best.
I love it, man. I love it. Dude, have you had Wendy's saucy nugs?
I have.
Okay. I'm upset with them.
You're upset. Okay.
Yes, because every time I order them, there's like no sauce. None.
I've had that. I had that. So on my side of town, Brad and I live on opposite sides of town. On my side of town, there's one particular Wendy's that I go to. And again, Wendy's don't come for us. But I got the wings that I wanted. I got the sauce on them. And it from that Wendy's to my house is about a 12-minute drive, give or take traffic. I get home, hop out of my pickup, go inside, get ready to eat, open up the container, and I don't know if they didn't put sauce on because the wings tasted sauce or if it dried up. But yeah, definitely the sauce factor was not where I wanted it to be. Not where I wanted it to be.
Definitely like it the name saucy.
Yes.
Kind of makes me mad. But
yes.
If I need to order extra sauce, I can do that. But just let me know up front. Like, hey, I want my nugs in the sauce.
Yes. And by the way, I heard that was your pickup line when you were dating.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm trying to get my nugs in the sauce a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. My original thing was a magic trick. That was my go-to move. Is I would actually be like, hey, do a couple of card tricks or whatever. And I'm like, I'll tell you what. For my last trick that I'm going to do for you is I want you to put your name in my phone and your number, and I'm going to text you a card. And then I'm going to let you pick that card. I'm going to have you pick a card out of my deck
Okay.
and put it back in, and then I'd hit send and walk away.
That's pretty ingenious.
That was the move.
That's pretty ingenious.
I mean, granted, there's also 15 years ago, 16 years ago.
Yeah. But still, that's pretty ingenious, man.
You know,
and ladies and gentlemen, that's why he is the stud of the show. That is why he is. No longer can he say it's self-proclaimed, because I also will proclaim. No. I am going to acknowledge that you are the Emperor of Awesome.
The now acknowledged. That's probably going to be changed next week to the now acknowledged. The acknowledged Emperor of Awesome. Yes.
Because we the ones.
That's absolutely.
And if not, we're the twos, which, okay.
Yeah,
By the way, Bradley, if we're the twos, that means we are the poo. So it's
that's
all
right.
good.
We are the turds that will not flush. Absolutely.
That works for me. I've been called worse, so that will work for me, bro.
Me too. Do you got a better than us human of the week?
Yes, I'm going to give a couple of people shout out. So number one, I'm going to give it back into our friend Annie over at the college for having us come in and letting us speak to her class. That was lots of fun. And then I also want to give a shout out to my friend Laura, who is the executive director of a local nonprofit here in the Des Moines area. They are doing all kinds of things for individuals who experience disabilities, as well as she actually gave me a couple of thoughts on my list tonight on what would be some of the most quoted movies. And I got to give a shout out to her number 4, which was Airplane. So, my number 4 on the list, which is Airplane. So, Annie and Laura, 2 very good eggs who I appreciate you very much. So, those are my better than us humans of the week.
I concur. Annie is always awesome. And I have to give it to my kiddo. I can't really call her a kiddo because she's 22. But Kendall Morgan, I love you, girl.
Boom.
All right. Well, Brian, where can we find you?
Well, as always, you can find me on the Book of Faith. You can find me at Brian Stephen Dennis. Give me a like, give me a follow. I try and keep it funny and occasionally weird.
All right. Well, you can find me. Friend me, or follow me at Facebook at Nerd Positive, YouTube at Nerd Positive 1, TikTok at Nerd Positive 1, and I got a work TikTok call at movies.bs. Do a bunch of fun stuff on that as well. And Instagram at the Fandemic 1.
Boom.
If you feel there's more of a conversation, feel free to reach out. Let's talk. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the next guest on Nerd Positive.
Hey.
All right. If you want to support the show, there's several ways to do so. You can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/nerdpositive. Go to Patreon at patreon.com/nerdpositive. You can go to PayPal or Venmo at Bradley Butane. I'm not going to say no. Most importantly, just share the show with someone you want to make a little more awesome. All right, man. I think we've hit max levels of awesome for the week. How do we end the show?
As always, ladies and gentlemen, in the podcast universe, we appreciate you surviving the pandemic and now getting Nerd Positive with us each and every week. Bradley and I really appreciate your time, attention, and just bringing the good vibes. So as always, I just want to remind everyone, as you start your week, that Goonies, that Never Say Die, No Retreat, No Surrender, and Goonies, Never Say Die.
All right, since we were talking quotes, we're going to do a few of them here.
All right.
Remember, friendship is like peeing on yourself. Everyone can see it, but only you get the warm feeling that it brings. If you think about it, every time you feel stupid, you just got a little smarter. Squirrels' cheeks are their nutsacks. Don't let today end in a why, didn't I? Remember, bad decisions make great stories. A diamond is merely a lump of coal that did well under pressure. And when I'm sad, I stop being sad and be awesome instead. Barney Stinson.
Boom.
Have a great day. Oh, bye-bye.
Bye-bye, folks.